the industry. We get the privilege of seeing just about everything that goes on in the industry, meeting a ton of people all across the country, and we are privileged and honored to have the three of them that I would say are some of the best when it comes to building and promoting your brand in our industry. So before we get started, I'd just like a little bit of audience participation, if I could. So what we're talking about is branding. So just raise your hand. Who has the slogan? What's the company that has the slogan, "Just do it"? Semper Fi. Finger licking good. All examples of branding. On the contrary, I could throw out a bunch of slogans that nobody's heard of, and what I will say about that is, what you may not realize is your brand is being created, whether you're doing it deliberately or not. People, when they hear your company, they will think something. And that something is whether it is something you have designed and placed in the marketplace, or it's something that has been created in absence of your strategy. And that's what these gentlemen are going to talk about today. So if I could, I'm going to pass the mic around, have each introduce themselves real quickly, and then we'll get started. Jason?
Hi, my name's Jason Russell. I'm the owner of Dr. Dex in Tacoma, Washington.
You can also go into a study.
James Carey, Carey Brothers Remodeling, On the House Media, and Carey Bros Pros in the San Francisco Bay Area.
My name is Morris Carey, and I do everything he does, plus I sweep and change light bulbs.
Don't believe it. So, gentlemen, I'm just going to start out with a really simple question to kind of kick the ball off. Why do you think branding is so important?
I think branding is important because it gives your potential clients or people that follow you a way to identify with you. So if I'm trying to put out a vibe or a certain type of product, I want those people to see something that, not only the name, but maybe the shape of what I'm trying to show them.
If you're self-employed and you have a business, you don't have a business. You have a brand. You don't have a business, you have a brand. Stop thinking business, start thinking brand.
And that gives you the opportunity, and this works good if you're putting a deck, say it's a stair.
There's no saying that if you are in business, you're growing. And if you're not growing, you're going broke. That's one of the oldest philosophies of business. In order to keep growing, you have to have the name of your company, your brand, top of mind in the public in your work area. If your name isn't top of mind, someone else will be selected, their business will grow, yours won't, and you will fade. Period.
That's great advice. You know, we're all busy in business, and we'll all attest to the fact that when you're in business for yourself especially, time's limited, resources are limited, we're racing from job to job, we're dealing with employees and suppliers and quotes and customers. How do you make time to prioritize branding? And what does branding really do for your business that makes your business more efficient or more profitable, or how do you justify investing in branding?
Well, we're 37 years into our business together, and he had some time before that. And in addition to our construction business, which is design, build, remodeling in the San Francisco Bay Area, for 32 years we've had a media company which has helped us brand. We began a radio program in San Francisco, we syndicated that, we got into television, We syndicated that. We got into publishing. We syndicated that. And I don't know that it would be easy to start that today. And how we've managed to perpetuate it for 32 years is that, like Madonna, or like Lady Gaga, or even like maybe Frank Sinatra, from time to time you need to get a new haircut and you need to do things a little differently. He wears black, that's part of his brand, and he knows it, and it's an authentic part of his brand. So for us, part of our brand included for many, many years bright colored bib overalls for our media work. And of course our trucks are wrapped and we're in our bright colored bib overalls. So I think you need to know who you are and you need to exploit that in the best way that you can. You may not have a nationally syndicated radio program, but you may find that a way to get your brand out is through social media, like he does. Or maybe it's a podcast, like we do. Everybody can have their own radio program now, thanks to podcasting.
Be it the additional two, or the additional two for each successive 250 square feet. So
You are a contractor. You are not a plumber, you are not a carpenter or an electrician. An electrician wires, a plumber pipes, a drywaller tapes. A contractor contracts.
So your question is, I know
If you don't contract, if you're a carpenter, then you're not a contractor and you won't have time to brand. But if you're a contractor, your time must be spent being a business person. That means hiring an accountant. That means advertising. That means marketing. That means all the things branding. It means everything that surrounds being in business. If you are a contractor, you are no longer a tradesperson. You must do business. If you spend all of your time as a contractor doing trades work, you're not really a contractor. You're a self-employed tradesman. So if you want to move into becoming a businessman and a contractor, take your tools off and trade them for a copy machine and a computer, and start establishing yourselves as a business person. And part of establishing yourself as a business person is taking the time to brand.
You can always find flaws in any system.
That's amazing advice.
What was the question? Because these guys are just like lost.
Well, I'll tell you what. Here, let's keep going on that same topic. But I think a lot of this is big and overwhelming, and I know that a lot of people, whether they're starting out in business or they're just adopting a new strategy, like, wow, okay, branding's kind of opened my eyes. Maybe I should invest in that. The first thing you think of is, hey, I'm going to have a logo created, and maybe I should get a website and business cards and colored overalls and car wraps and a haircut like Madonna somehow made it into the conversation. Maybe we'll revisit that one. No. So along with that start, inevitably we learn from experience, and we probably made a few mistakes ourselves along the ways. Why don't you tell us about some of the mistakes you've made along the way as it relates to branding, and maybe what you think actually the most important things are, if it isn't stationery and a website and Madonna haircuts.
I think he hit on the point where I wish I would have got started even earlier in my social media presence, getting my name and my brand out to the masses. I think the internet has been a positive thing, an incredible way to get it out there. Not necessarily a mistake, but my mistake was ignoring it up to a certain point where it became to the point where it was not ignorable anymore. I saw some of my competition was doing it and I was falling behind. So I got very advocate about it and hitting it every day, becoming religious about putting out posts, getting to the people, being passionate about what I was doing. I wasn't showing my passion in my art. I was just showing work. But when I got to the point where I realized, okay, that needs to change, to show my brand, to identify with it, to get serious about it and actually show the logo instead of a photograph of some deck or something I was building, to put Dr. Dex in front of people so they can see that and recognize it. That's when I realized I was making a mistake, and then I was able to turn it around and get some more people viable in it.
I'll give you I've got 2 Eagle Scouts, and after each camp out, before we took off, we did roses and thorns. And I'll give you the roses and I'll give you the thorns wrapped all into one, and I made some notes. And this speaks to what you need to consider in your business, and that's technology. He says, be a businessman and take your tools off. That might work for some, but for others, some want to have the joy of having their tools on and still want to be the business person. And you can do that, but you have to work really, really hard and really, really smart. And in today's business environment, you can do that, especially by harnessing technology. I'll give you my quick once-over. Create an ecosystem of professionalism. Create an ecosystem of professionalism. That means create a team. If you're a one-man show, that's fine, but you've got to have a team in order to brand and in order to build. And whether they're direct hire or whether they're subcontract, you have to create a team. He said an accountant and others, that's part of your team. Hire and train your crew and subs. Have them do what you do. If you have a subcontractor, if you're a deck builder and you have someone that does staining for you, make sure that that person knows exactly what you want, in as much as the number of coats of stain is concerned or how you do prep or whatever. Strive for excellence. And make sure that everybody that's in your employ or that you sets foot on your job strives for excellence and knows what your attitude is. Leverage technology. Communicate with your crew and your clients. There is no substitute for excellent communication. Text, email, call, FaceTime, do whatever it takes to interface with your client and your crew and your subs. Go paperless. Electronic timesheets, electronic paperless. How many are doing electronic timesheets? Isn't it wonderful? I couldn't wait to throw that. How about electronic bookkeeping? We don't have a file folder anymore. We don't have a file cabinet anymore. It's all in the cloud. We don't have a check stub anymore. All of our employee payments go into their direct deposits, and all of our vendors are paid either electronically or we put the money right in their bank account. And I got to tell you, if you haven't done that yet, take a close look at it. Online photo share, and finally, coming all the way around full circle and back to his comment, image building. How do you build your image? How do you build your brand? You be an advocate for your industry and you elevate the industry. That's number one. Our industry has a reputation that's worse than we don't even want to go there. And the way to do that is to elevate the industry. Get involved, do cause-related marketing and volunteer work, blog posts, podcasts, social media, and seminars in the community will help you not only build your brand, but improve the environment and the industry and help people in need.
My brother and I wrote for Associated Press for 18 years. And we got a letter. We used to get about 1,500 letters a month. And one fellow who was a contractor wrote, I go to the front door, I knock, and the people never let me in to look at their work. What do I do? I said, I responded writing. Didn't respond to many of them because there were so many. But with this fellow, I wrote in our article the response to his question. And the response was, take a bath, brush your teeth, and buy some nice clothes. Did that go over your head? He wasn't getting in the door because he was a slob when he walked up to him. And you have to present yourself not as a tradesperson, but as a business person. Neat and clean and friendly. The first step in branding is customer satisfaction. Your customers must be satisfied with your work. They must be satisfied that you're intelligent and that you have integrity and honesty. If they don't believe that, they won't recommend you to someone else. You have to do the whole enchilada, the good job, the integrity, the trust, everything. That's the first step in branding. The second step in branding is constant advertising. Word of mouth is great, but you must buy advertising somewhere. Where do you buy advertising? You staticize. You find out which kind of advertising gives you the best closing rate and which zip code gives you the best closing rate, and then buy advertising that gives you the best closing rate in the zip code that gives you the best closing rate, and you will diminish the number of no's and increase the number of yeses and make more money.
Excellent feedback. I appreciate that. So, you know, this is still, I would assume for most, a pretty overwhelming topic. I mean, where do I get started? And each of you have kind of talked about, you know, getting it out there, whether it's through social media, through advertising, through raps. I do want to point to a couple things that just coincidentally, and this seems like shameless promotion, and I guess it kind of is. But, like, for example, I mean, the Carey brothers came to us as a publication and said, we've got a ton of experience that we'd like to share with the industry to help educate them. So in every single issue, there's actually a column from the Carey brothers. And what does that do immediately? Number one, they can use our magazine as their own marketing to take them out to build their own credibility and expertise. Jason, for example, I mean, if you want to talk about how hard branding is and that isn't something that takes place overnight, on the cover of our magazine is Jason's car. So rather than driving around in a dirty Ford F-150 giving quotes, anytime he's meeting a new customer, he actually had designed a custom car with deck samples that pop out in the trunk. It's wrapped with his own graphics. It's definitely an eye catcher, but it's a totally different take on branding and getting attention. And when he rolls up to somebody's house, like, I mean, he isn't that dirty Ford F-150 and grungy overalls asking to be let in. He's showing up basically in his uniform with his shirts from his car, and right away the impression of that homeowner is completely different. So here's a quick rapid fire question for you guys. What percentage of your business today is just through referral of satisfied customers?
100%.
35%.
So yours was easy. So the other
I don't need to
65%.
advertise. All of my work is word of mouth. Well, I'll tell you what. I think that's wonderful. But I will tell you that Coca-Cola is probably one of the best-known brands on the planet. And they spend money on advertising like it's going out of style. They must know something that a lot of people don't when it comes to branding. So, what do I say? I say advertise hard, generate a lot of leads, and say no more often. And if you get too busy, do what? Raise your price. And maybe raise your profitability. And maybe pay yourself more. And maybe hire someone else to do something that they can do for you that will give you a little more time to enjoy your family or some of the hobbies that you had to give up because you're working so damn hard.
when our closing rate increased above 30%, national average 25%, when our closing rate increased above 30%, we raised our prices 15, 20%. Not for anything but to make more money because supply wasn't meeting demand. And when that happens, you've got to make money because there's going to be a recession where you won't make money and where word of mouth doesn't work anymore. You have to be known to the great public in your market for as far as you're willing to travel. Everyone must know your name, because when that recession comes, instead of 1,000 people a month, there are 50 people a month who want to buy.
So I've got two quick things to share, because the challenge today is that it is a noisy marketplace. Everything that we've talked about, whether it's trade shows or it's advertising or it's digital or social media, everybody's being bombarded by advertising, by messages, by email. So how do you stand out? And that's not the question. It will be the question in a second, but let me tell you, number one, how I met Jason was several years ago at this show. There was an empty booth that an exhibitor didn't show up for in a far back corner. And there was probably 100 people crowding the aisles listening to somebody. And I squeezed my way in, and it was Jason. And he was talking about an injury that he had. And 100 people were standing there listening to him. And afterwards I said, how the heck did you get 100 people to listen to you talk about your knee injury? And he said, oh, just a couple minutes before they all showed up, I posted on Instagram that I'm crashing Deck Expo and to come over and listen to me. And 100 people were there. And then coincidentally, just a second before this started, this young lady shows up, and Jason walked over and said, oh, who are you and where are you from and why are you here? Why are you here?
Because Dr. Dex is here.
So he posted on his social media that he would be here at 2 o'clock. So how many people are here because Dr. Dex posted on his social media that he'd be here at 2 o'clock? Okay.
Thank you guys.
So,
I really appreciate it.
none of that is easy, but how do you stand out in a crowded, noisy marketplace? And then we'll just take a couple questions and wrap up.
Can I say something really quick? When I started my business, when I started my website, it was 56K dial-up days. This is 20 years ago. I started my business when I was 21. And I needed to have a web presence. I knew that, but I didn't know anything about it. We were at Kinko's with a fixed 56K modem. It took me an hour and a half to upload one picture to the internet. Coca-Cola, Home Depot, Pepsi, they had web pages, and I had a web page. 17 years later, when I'm getting bombarded with SEO messages, oh, we can boost your page rank, we can do this, we can do that. I have fun getting back to these people and go, have you actually checked where I rank? I've had a website for so long that we come up #1 in our area every single time. We're not a sponsored ad. I don't pay for sponsorship ads because I've just been around for so long. We started at such a young, tender age that our webpage has always been there. So I just wanted to hit in on that. Like, if you want to promote yourself, a website is always a great way to do that, no matter what. Always have a solid base that you can always, it's free, basically free. You have to pay for hosting or whatever, but if you have a really great page that people can go visit, it's your calling card. You know, it's just something that people can go to. But the longer it's on the internet, the stronger it becomes, and it becomes a very valuable asset.
We went to DC yesterday. We were in the car listening to one of the leading radio stations in the country, WTOP, and it's a news talk station. Listen to the news. Go to commercial. Siding company. Next commercial. Plumbing company. Next commercial. Roofing company. Next commercial. Remodeling company. Remodeling company says, thinking about remodeling your home, need a new kitchen, a new bathroom, an add-on? Come to our lunch and design seminar. Okay? So whether you're having coffee or whether you're having beer and pretzels or donuts or cookies and whatever, we do local design seminars that we advertise that bring people in because they want, and we do a soft sell. We don't do a hard sell. We do a soft sell, and we make it an informative program so that they can walk away with something and make some decisions. And maybe they'll call us and maybe they won't. But we know that we can end up getting enough business out of that event in order to justify us in continuing to do it.
Well, we've learned to pick our customers. Our customers don't pick us, we pick them. We say no. For example, when a customer wants to meet on Friday night or Saturday, we won't go. You can't get an attorney on Friday night or Saturday. You can't get us either. Everything is how the customer perceives you. If you're perceived as a carpenter, then you're at the bottom of the totem pole as far as our customers are concerned, because they want a professional and we make them demand us. One of the questions that you asked by email was do you believe brands are created? Successful brands are created. Everything you do creates your brand. That woman over there, once we set up our brand, replaced 5 salespeople. I had 2 draftspeople and 5 salespeople. She came in using our policies and our procedures, and they had sold $2.5 million. I'm so sorry. He's getting cues from NORAD. I'm so sorry. We had 5 salespeople and 2 draftsmen. They did $2.5 million a year. We kept growing. We kept establishing a brand. She came in and sold $3.2 million, and I got rid of the other 5. You also have to surround yourself with really good people. You are not an island. If you don't have people around you who can produce, then you can't succeed. If you're doing word of mouth advertising, you may have enough to keep yourself and a couple other people busy. But to keep people like her busy and pay people 6 zeros a year, you're going to have to make a lot of money. In order to make a lot of money, you have to have a lot of customers. In order to have a lot of customers, you have to do a lot of branding. Once you've done the branding and the advertising, then you have to perform the kinds of jobs that you want to perform with the kinds of people who you like to work for. We do not work for millennials. We work for older people who have money and who've been screwed by contractors. We get right in the door the minute we work with people my age, in their 60s, 70s, and 80s. That is pure gold to us. Millennials throw us out because they want service on Saturday night and Sunday and all of that, and we won't do it. So the bottom line is, you have to advertise, you have to choose the jobs you want, you have to reach out, because I know after 4 recessions, surviving 4 recessions, 3, 4, and 5-year recessions, I will tell you that the only way to survive is to grow your business constantly. Grow it. When business gets bad, get rid of all of your crap help, keep your good people, pull your wings in, pull in all your costs, survive the recession, and then have your good people help you hire more good people when the economy turns.
and make enough money when times are good so that you can weather the bad times. And why does everybody else get a retirement and you don't? And why do you have to work 7 days a week and the pros don't? It's attitude, and you have to determine what it is you want in your life. I know you have children, and some of you, like me, have grandchildren, and you want to spend some of your time with your children and grandchildren and your spouse, God forbid, and enjoy some life. And so that's about making decisions and setting healthy limits.
Jason, final word before a couple questions.
If you're on Instagram, follow at Dr. Dex. That's branding.
That is branding.
Any questions?
Question for James. You said that everybody needs to learn how to say no. It sounds like you guys cast a very large marketing net. How do you say no without alienating those people you just spent a lot of money trying to capture?
That's a wonderful question. We have to get told no in order to get told yes. And we know in our business for nearly 40 years that we have to get 3 no's in order to get 1 yes. And if you're the 3, I'm going to say thank you for your no. I'm going to say thank you for your no, and thank you for your no, because each of you got me 1 no closer to being told yes. And you don't need to know calculus, you don't need to know algebra, you don't need to know trigonometry. It's simple math that works in what we do. Being told no is easy because sales, they tell you no, okay? That happens because there are objections that we need to overcome. That's what sales is. It's overcoming objections. What's the biggest objection? Money. You're too expensive. Well, if I can't do a good job of justifying my price and telling them why my price is my price, there's a 5-year written guarantee and this and that and all of that, and they still say no, I haven't adequately overcome that objection. If they say, we want you to work on weekends, and I won't, that's a way of getting a no, because I don't work on weekends. So most of that starts in the qualifying process. Remember, it's 10 calls to get 4 estimates to get 1 deal. So in being told no, you thank them. You're not everybody is a good fit, and they will find someone that will meet their needs, and we'll get 1 no closer to being told yes. And you expect it and you plan for it in your marketing. And we don't cast that wide a net. We cast a pretty, a 25-mile, 30-mile radius, and but we are in the East Bay and the San Francisco Bay Area. We catch some of that tech business, and it's a robust economy.
Any other questions? Well, we appreciate everybody's time. I know the show's busy, but hopefully you got a lot of valuable information. We appreciate your participation. Make sure that you follow these guys on social media. Also, make sure you subscribe to Dex Specialist, because you'll hear their voices in that publication with each issue, and the excellent advice and expertise will continue through you following these gentlemen. But again, I appreciate it, and I wish all of you a continued success in your business and at the show. Thank you very much.
And thank you, Patrick, for having us, huh?